moving beyond the know, like, and trust, everything that they do is an extension of that. It's really one of those things of where people don't necessarily think about it. And I got my start on the music industry side. I know you've got some experience with it as well. So there's the brand persona of,
Mhm.
this is what we're pitching. This is
This
what
is
we
what
want
we
present to
present to
everybody so
everybody.
that we know if we package you this way, people are going to like you. But one of the other things that I explain is that's the brand persona is like the business side of it. You still have to figure out how to manage the personal side. There are a few examples that I normally go with, and now like one of the most recent ones, I don't watch it, but like The Bachelorette,
Mhm.
didn't they, I feel like they just canceled one because they caught the woman throwing a chair at somebody or
I
something.
heard oh my gosh, that story is I've heard bits and
So
pieces of it. But that's the thing
yeah,
though, that's what happens when brands collide, when your personal brand is not your
yes,
professional brand. And I know that we are people before we are anything else. And
yeah,
I know that at some point, who you are has to be who you are. But if you come from a place of authenticity from the very beginning, it makes it a little easier to navigate. I'm not saying
indeed.
easier because you don't have to worry about somebody finding out that you're a closet freak if you tell them that in the very beginning. I mean,
Hmm.
like, if there's things that you admit to, like we had that conversation before. If you go into the situation admitting your shortcomings and your faults, there's no place for anybody else to go. There's no shame there. So it
Yeah,
allows you to show up as who you are authentically and just be you. And that's what they're gonna fall in love with anyway, because if you write it and it's not who you are and it doesn't speak to who you are, it's not gonna be a good read. That's just me. That's just me. Because there's been some material that I've read and I have struggled to get through it. And there was some
yeah,
I couldn't. I just refused. I'm
yeah,
not gonna do this. But
yeah.
I could tell when a person actually put their soul into it because it just comes across, you know.
Yeah, so many different things came to mind. There are the people that are more interesting when you actually get to talk to them or spend time around them than they are in the books that they actually put out. Then there's just going back to the example of I don't even know her name, but the Bachelorette. Normally, what I go with is Papa John's as an example because that guy was everywhere. And then he dropped like an N word and started talking about the NFL protest with the national anthem, and they had to run him up out of the business, and they'd invested so much in it that it took them a while to be able to recover from that.
Mhm.
From the music industry side, I know that one of the things that we always looked at was what is that person really like? Can we build around that? Or can we at least figure out what we can build around and just kind of say, okay, well, we're hoping that you're going to evolve beyond these things or these things that may not be as marketable. But now these days, you can market just about anything as long as you know how to be able to package it right. So
Right.
I
But
don't
that
even
goes
think
to
it's
how they
it's
used to try to control the kids. Like they're children. And you know that a child is going to grow up and they're going to go
yes.
through things and they're going to
Yeah.
evolve. How do you maintain this childlike innocence if that's the image that they were portraying in the beginning up until like do you change their name? Like your name starts off as little poo poo or whatever
Mhm.
your name
Mhm.
is, and now all of a sudden you're 20 years old. Does this name still fit with who you now are as a person? So we all evolve. Even
Yeah.
as an author, you evolve. Your first book is definitely not going to be as great as your third and your fourth because there's
No.
things that you've learned or should have learned, could have learned, may have learned in the process that
Fingers
but
crossed. Yes.
some of us don't, meet those
Mhm.
that take encouragement lightly, but if you're open to critique and you're open to understanding that this even though it's who you are, you still want people to read it.
Yes. Yeah. But at the same time, I think everybody's got their tribe. So if you are being authentic, be authentic to the people that are very much like you that want somebody else out there to like so many people are we're in such a period where like so many things are isolated where people feel like they're the only one. So as soon as they find out that there's someone else that thinks the way that they do and does things the way that they do, they automatically feel more emboldened, more empowered, and they embrace it even more. So again, like for me, from an advertising and marketing standpoint, my thing is I can sell anything. The worst of things, the best of things. Like that's why when I started in music, I figured out that was one of the hardest things to be able to sell because people talk.
Mm,
Products and services don't, but people talk. People can have a good day, a bad day. So once I figured out how they figured out how to package and sell people, such an awful way to be able to explain it, but once they figured out how to be able to build that out, then my thing is, well, if I can do this here, then I can do that with anything.
right.
And now we're just at a time where it just gets easier and easier to be able to do it if you know what you're looking at and you know how to be able to put stuff together. So I love that it's not just something where you're showing people that they have a story that they can tell, but you're also helping them be able to figure out how to be able to tell the story to the right people. And I think that's the part that sets people up for success. And that's the part that's missing from a lot of the things that I see people putting out, where, there's the gurus that'll say, I'll show you how to be able to make this much money. I'll show you how to be able to do this. I'll show you how to do that. There are a lot of people that I actually got turned off from people talking about writing books because they were trying to use it as a hack.
Uh-huh.
And my thing is a hack. Like it's one of those things where like you're saying, well, if you don't have a book, then five of us will put something together and you'll do like a part of the book, I'll do a part of the book. And they were just doing that so that they could put best-selling author or, some kind of ranking out there to call themselves like a published artist. To me, if it's not authentic, if it's not something that you can stand behind, then it's not really something that you should be doing. I look at it from the artist standpoint because, again, that's where I got a lot of my start and a lot of my knowledge. I think back to the artists that put a song out that wasn't really them, and then I watched them as time went by. And if you ever go to those concerts where, they get tired of singing the song because it's not who they were, and then they just kind of hold the mic out and say, I'm gonna let the audience sing it because I don't want to ruin it for you, but at the same time, I don't feel this way. So, like,
Mhm.
someone sing a song about heartbreak, and then your life turns around and you get married, you have kids, you're happy and all the rest of that. Do you really wanna be on the stage reliving that
Somebody
bad
was just
moment?
recently saying that exact same thing. She was like, "I just don't wanna tour anymore because I don't wanna sing the sad songs. I'm not in that place in my life anymore," but that's where they met you. Same thing we
Yeah,
were talking about with relationships. You
yeah,
meet people where you are, and they either grow with you or you outgrow them. Same thing.
yeah, yeah.
That's life. That's the way things go.
It is, and that's where the adjustment comes in, and I think this is something else that you're helping people with because we're talking about different iterations. Again, this is gonna be one of those things where I'm leaning back to artists because I can't speak to books the same way, but there are artists that would come out and they got tired of singing the same types of songs and wanted to switch genres and things like that, and their audience was like, "No, we wanna hear that." Like, you start coming out with a new sound and doing something different, we're not buying that. You better figure out a way to mix some stuff in. Give me half an album of this, and you can do like 2 songs of what you wanna be able to do, but, like, if you're not seeing it what I'm expecting, then we're gonna have a problem. It used to be that way more. Now we're at a time where, like, even if you wanna be able to switch and do something else, if they're leveraging the fact that you're showing them how to be able to market something before they bring it to market, even if that audience decides that they wanna jump ship, they've had time to be able to build up that new audience that would say, "Well, I mean, never mind them, they could kick rocks. I like where you're going with it, and I wanna be part of that." So, I think that's the other part that I really want people to understand is it's not just about identifying your story. It's about knowing how to be able to tell your story and who to tell it to. And I love the fact that you're not only helping people figure out the story that they want to be able to tell, but you're helping them figure out who to be able to tell it to and get those reps in because that's where it's really going to make the biggest difference.